Okay. All right, we're recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Q&A for the San Francisco Indie Shorts Fest 2022. This is the Q&A for the program Funny Business. And all these guys, all these filmmakers are very kind to join us here, and they're actually very prompt people. They came in on time, except for Nolan. He was late. I just want to point him out. You're 7 minutes late. So thanks for being here, everybody. Congratulations. Some audio would be nice. Some hellos and congratulations would be nicer to hear than just
Hello, thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
So, craziness. We got a lot of stylized, great short films here. All standouts. I love them all. And with the great group of filmmakers present, let me just single out some people. Unveiled. Where are you? Wave your hand. Unveiled. Is Unveiled here? I thought you just showed up. Okay. So give me inspiration for Fire Hill. Where are you? You got a bunch of people. Fire Hill here. There you go. Nolan, the lake guy. I'm going to make you up first. Boy. All right. So where the heck did this idea come from?
Sure. Yeah, well, first of all, I'm sorry I was late. I was actually on time, but my webcam wasn't working, so I had to switch devices.
Sure.
I know, my convenient excuse of the day. Fire Hill. Inspiration for that. Well, it was kind of three main things. The first being buffalo wings, which, you know, that kind of speaks for itself. I love buffalo wings, and it kind of worked its way into the film. And then the other two inspirations were kind of this idea of taking like an Austin Powers type, very kind of goofy, positive, ridiculous character, and putting it in a zany horror situation akin to like Evil Dead. So I kind of put my three inspirations as Buffalo Wings, Evil Dead, and Austin Powers, and just kind of let that.
Yeah, lots of fun. I'm surprised you said buffalo wings first as inspiration, but you know, whatever it is, it works. Hey, and Meredith, you're next up on my screen. I'm going to have you just tell us your film briefly and what inspired you.
Sure. Well, I'll let AJ jump in after I say hello, but I play Miranda in Meet Carly W, which was written by the very talented AJ Hartman and directed by him as well. So I'll let him jump in and talk about his inspiration for creating Meet Carly W.
Sure. I'm AJ Hartman. I also have my cinematographer producer here, David Ruano, right there. And basically this was kind of inspired by my life. And it's a little bit ironic that we're doing the Zoom call here because it's basically a Zoom job interview from hell. I pretty much have gone through so many horrible virtual interviews, and it's kind of based on all my experiences going through that. Yeah.
Right on, lots of fun. It was kind of painful to watch because it's true to life. Those awkward Zoom calls. Luckily, I haven't had to have an interview. Hey, David, do you want to introduce yourself and just say something?
Yeah, I'm Mr. David Toronto. I'm the cinematographer, and it was a pleasure working with AJ and Meredith on this short. It was hilarious. We were able to shoot it all in just two locations, which was amazing, and we shot it during the pandemic, which made it a little bit harder, but it was fun, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Excellent. And then, forgive me, Anais?
Anais.
Anais. And your film, what is it? And tell us your inspiration.
My film is called Crackle, and my inspiration, I think, was the turning point, that point when we lose our innocence. And it's funny that I'm in the comedy because I don't know exactly where it's the kind of a dark comedy. So I never know which category I should submit for. I'm just like, it could go either way depending on your sense of humor, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
But I enjoy being part of the comedy because I find a home there as well. But yeah, I think that point of, you know, that the growing up, the loss of innocence and who we are, maybe based on an experience that happens to us, something that we see. So like, I'm just very interested in the things that shape our lives and who we become after that.
Yeah, right on. You know, we could also even maybe group this together. These are very, you guys all put your signature on it, very stylized, which is fantastic. They all really have a signature to them that's wonderful and enjoyable to watch. So who do we have next? Josh, I'll put you up next. Tell us a little bit about your film, what it is, and inspiration.
Yeah, Hip Cat is an absurdist comedy satire, and it's basically just the inspiration of it was to make fun of, I guess, the hierarchy of art and how some things are marginalized when they're maybe less important. Or I think we all probably feel that way about being not as socially relevant or as cool as some other topics. So it was mainly just making fun of that. And the inspiration, actually, I was actually at a dinner party like that before, where people read quotes from famous historical figures, and it was just really pretentious. So I wanted to make fun of that.
Right on. And PK, is that actually your what you go by, or
Yeah, PK.
how about you? What's your film and what's inspired you?
Yeah, so Mythical Encounters I made with Nietzsche de Silva, and this is the dumb idea that we came up with many years ago because we were working at a restaurant, and you know, as you do when you're waiting for your table's food, you come up with stupid ideas. And we thought, what if two mythical creatures that weren't supposed to be seen in public ran into each other, and their first instinct was to kill each other. And for some reason, we thought that was super funny. And then years later, when we had more filmmaking experience, we came back to it and we're like, let's shoot that dumb thing.
Yes, very wacky and imaginative. Nietzsche.
Yeah, and honestly, it looks exactly how I imagined it in our heads, like or in my head when we were talking about it initially. It kind of tastefully underwhelming is what I like to call it. You know, just like very minimal, but I don't know, stupid, fun, you know, not expecting much, but fun to do.
So why a short film? Anybody can chime in at any time. I'm happy to call your names out, but why a short? Like, have you guys made feature films? Anyone made a feature? No. Do you want to make a feature? Okay, PK made a feature. Anyone want to make a feature film? I'm just curious why you did this, a short. Anyone raise your hand or just start speaking. Why a short film?
I think it's just an easier way to train and flex your muscle, I guess, and get better on-field experience. I work actually at a company, Animus Studios, which I'm here right now, and it was funded by Animus. So we have like independent narrative work that we just do just to increase our portfolio. And I just submitted Hip Cat to my bosses, and they didn't fire me, so that's how I got made.
And they're okay with you doing the Zoom call right now too.
Yeah, actually, I was just in a writer's meeting, and I was like, I gotta go, guys.
Anyone else? The shorts medium. Why you chose it? Why you like it? What you think about it?
Well, I think besides it being much cheaper and easier to harness like a smaller cast and maybe I think there's quite a challenge of like how much can you say in a little amount of time, and how much can you not waste. So I think that begins with the writing a little bit. So what can you write that has the fewest amount of words and dialogue and pages and still get your point across? There's something very thrilling and challenging about that.
Yeah, I do think shorts allow you maybe a little bit more creative flexibility, possibly, you know, than like a longer form thing. How long was your shoot? Your film in Ace was one of the more, you know, more setups, if you will. What were some of the challenges? How long did it take you to shoot?
We shot in 2 days, and
Oh, wow.
For me, it was working with a young actress,
Mm,
and she was phenomenal. It was my way of learning or relearning how to communicate with someone younger, because I
yeah.
would use, you know, maybe the language that we use, and it would kind of go, you know, maybe she wouldn't understand it, or she'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I had to figure out how to get the performance that I wanted from her in other ways, and that was quite challenging. And there was so many bubbles. We had a lot of bubbles because I was like, I just want there to be bubbles everywhere, and there was a lot of wind on that day.
Wasn't the mermaid? What about the mermaid costume? Was that challenging? It looked good. Looked great.
That actually is, he's played by my partner, so I was like, what can I do to make him extremely uncomfortable? And he's not like the best swimmer either, so I'm like, yeah, put a huge mermaid fin on him and have him like swim around in a pool, and and then he has to like grease himself up before he gets into it. So he's laying on the ground, and he's just like, it's just like, I don't know, it's part of it, and I wanted a lot of glitter on him too, so it's just
all your performers, all the actors in all these films are wonderful and enjoyable to watch. Hey AJ, why a short film? Why did you make this?
For me, I think it's, first of all, it really spoke to me, this story. I'd kind of been through it pre-pandemic, actually. I read it before the pandemic, and it's just like a kind of based on personal experience. It just seemed the right form for this particular story. But also just as kind of a calling card to get back into filmmaking, because I've been out of it a few years. It's kind of like building up the muscles. But yeah, I think my next project, I'm moving toward a feature, for sure.
Did you film this during the pandemic?
We shot it about a year ago, and that was challenging in itself. We shot over 4 days, but really, I think David could speak more to this. But the most challenging part of our production was really the post production, because they didn't be a lot of visual effects. Since it's all over Zoom, we ended up actually adding a lot of stuff in post. David, if you want to.
Yeah, well, one of the things that there were several scenes in our short where obviously we have the visual effects of having the screen with the two characters on them talking over Zoom with a nice layout over it. But also the actress had to move her laptop and run with it. So the laptop had a green screen on it, and that we had to put VFX on it. And just, I don't know if there's any VFX artists here, just having to track the screen, going through it and adding all the information afterwards. That took a couple months just doing the tracking, besides the rest of the VFX, the coloring and all that. So I think, well, in our case, that was the hardest part, which just
basically animation.
Yeah, the animation.
And are you guys in the same city or location, or why'd you just do it because of the pandemic? You did it online?
We didn't actually do it online. We actually shot. We didn't use Zoom. We actually shot everything with our camera.
I mean the post. You said you were talking via Zoom. Is that right?
Well, the on screen of the film, there's the Zoom effect. Kind of like here where we have our grids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we were able to meet up several times to go over some of the effects in person. But even that, we would like every Sunday, we would have our like little production meeting where we would meet up. I would share my screen of Premiere and After Effects and what I'm working on. Right. But yeah, it was that was pretty hard or longer than I think it should have. But yeah, it was still fun.
It's my fault.
Meredith, since we're on this film, do you enjoy doing shorts? Have you done many shorts?
Yeah, I've done a few shorts, but this one was great to be a part of. I'm actually in acting class with AJ and my co-star Amanda, so it was fun to collaborate and make something great with friends.
Are there benefits to acting on a short versus a longer thing, a longer feature?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's acting is acting from where I sit. So right. whether it's a short or a feature, if it's a good story, it's a good story. So it was just fun to be a part of.
Right.
And Meredith has written and directed her own shorts as well too. So
yeah, it's good to have that experience.
Yeah.
Nolan, what do you like about shorts? How many shorts have you made?
This would be technically probably my 5th or 6th if I count some of my more embarrassing like high school era stuff. But I think of the stuff I'm kind of more proud of, I would call it probably my 2nd. But yeah, I agree with really all the statements already made about the advantages of the short film format. I think in the case of our film, it really helped keep things high energy and concise and just kind of moving along, which served this story well. And it's also worth noting this was actually a senior thesis film at San Francisco State University. So technically it kind of had to be a short, but
right.
It worked out very well for this particular story. So
yeah. And since David and AJ were talking about special effects and whatnot, if a memory just popped up, big evil cat in the sky. or Black Cat. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. That is part of the film. That's actually my cat, Raimi. We basically, that was actually one of the harder effects to film, simply because he didn't want to cooperate very much. He didn't like the blue screen we were trying to get him to sit still on. So it took a while to get like a good 5 seconds of him just sitting still in front of a blue screen. But after that, the post-production process on that particular effect was mostly just simple keying, so not too bad. But shooting it was hard.
Yeah, yeah, that was quite funny. That was nice. PK, any challenges getting Waldo to appear in your movie? Or finding a leprechaun?
No.
Wait a minute. You know, are you acting in your movie too?
Yeah, I
No. It is you. Okay.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we casted correctly between the two of us for Leprechaun and Waldo. But yeah, no, I mean the beauty of a short is sometimes that, you know, there are lower stakes and you can do a lot more with a lot less. Between me and Nietzsche, we've probably done like 30 or 40 short films. So we are capable of a lot just as actors and filmmakers. And all we did was bring on a good cinematographer friend of ours, Chris Van Bailey. And it was just the three of us. And we had a good relationship with that restaurant where we originated the idea, and they allowed us to come in and shoot the whole thing in there. So we just had free run of the place for the night and just made this thing come to life. But you know, if you've seen it, it's mostly the story of the leprechaun finding Waldo. So it really all kind of ramps up to that final scene.
So did you just shoot in one night? Or
Yeah,
a couple days?
yeah. It was about I don't know, 6-7 hour shoot.
About 6-7 hours.
Really just like me running around, making it look like I'm actually doing something important instead of just having to find a bathroom. And then yeah, the cinematographer Chris Van Velle, he lit the hell out of that final scene. And you know, we were the grips when he needed it and his AC when we needed it. And then yeah, just it really came together in the editing, just trying to make it look more than just that ending scene.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys, like I said, all these are very stylized and have your personal touches on them. Did they come out the way you imagined, like with these looks? Anyone could speak up. I mean, did you realize the vision in your head?
Absolutely. The last scene especially, it's exactly how I envisioned it. I don't know how you saw it, PK, but just that tension, that silence, the close-ups, just the view from the toilet, you know, on the leprechaun just standing there intimidating. Like it's exactly what I imagined it would be.
Yeah. Overdone was what I pictured it, and I think it came out like that.
And it works. Others?
Yeah, I think for me, it actually kind of turned out better in a lot of ways than I expected. I give that credit to the actors and the performances and stuff. I thought Meredith and Amanda did an amazing work, and I thought you guys took it up to a different level. So I was really, really happy with how it turned out. Yeah.
Great. Josh, how about you? Yours is pretty stylized. What were some of did it turn out the way you expected, and what were some of your influences?
Yeah, no, I completely like how, I mean, probably better than how I expected. Everything I wanted happened. I'd say my influences on that one, as far as absurdity, was definitely like a lot of, I know Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddles ending was actually somewhat similar. I mean, I have 7 actors chasing one actor out of a house with a bunch of torches and pitchforks. So that was pretty crazy to shoot. We had firefighters on set and everything. It was safe. But yeah, that was definitely crazy. And I mean, especially with the Animus team, it was amazing. I was really happy to get all the things I wanted. Like I even had an Italian pop song at the end to kind of emulate the Rita Pavone I was going for.
Yeah, that's good. Nolan, how about you? Does it look exactly as it was in your head? Because it's quite unique.
You know, I feel like there was certainly compromises that had to be made. I am very pleased with how it turned out, and it's probably a lot closer than I would have initially expected going into the shoot. Especially in regards to the lead performance, that was better than I could ever imagine. Our lead actor, Drew Crosby, just brought so much to it. And you know, otherwise it was just there, you know, there's always areas where I'm like, looking back at it, I wish there was maybe more blood there, or wish the cemetery, maybe if we had more time, we could have made the cemetery a little more dramatic and heightened. But I'm very pleased with what we were able to do in the time we had and the money we had. And I'm very, very pleased with what our lead performance ended up looking like.
Yeah.
Thanks to through
Again,
CrossFit.
like I said, all the performances were wonderful. Well done. And maybe that was casting too, Nolan, but he was just spot on for what your vibe was, right? And Ace, I mean, how did you get that performance out of a child actor? You're talking about that, was a, kind of a new or a reminder of how to work with children actors. But all your performances are wonderful, including your partner, who was a trooper. But the relationship between the daughter, just in solo shots, and then relationship with the mom, dad, wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm always reminded that on set, you're constantly having to make choices, having to make, having to bend and with what you initially thought maybe, or the look of it, I definitely am very, very happy with the etherealness and the, otherworldly colors, like our DP, Jerry Thompson, really did a swell job. And yeah, during the performances, I realized that all of it was much more contained than I imagined. I imagined more emotional, more a little bigger, but then as I was looking at the performance, especially with the young girl, I realized that a lot of things are more contained than we think, especially on film. And I was very pleased with what she brought to the table. And actually my ending, I had to kind of change a little bit because of that. And I was very surprised and very happy.
You're surprised by, like, when you say contained, you mean like, for me, it's like, it seems like motion picture film is like smaller can sometimes be very magnified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that something can be told with a smaller amount of emotion.
Yeah.
It's almost even more than just crying, it's containing all of that emotion and having it in your eyes, which is what I think she did. And
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Cool.
very
Meredith, how was getting direction from AJ? Is it AJ or I just have A Hartman? Okay, AJ, thank you.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Was he a whip cracker or was he kind of a listener?
Oh no, yeah, he was very collaborative. He was easy to work with and had some great notes. So I was Miranda, which is the interviewer. So I was the scary person that was asking all of the terrifying questions to my co-star who was trying to get this job. And so AJ led me in a more direction that's like, is this person even human? Like, she's a little robotic, and so I think it made it even more intimidating for the other character played by Amanda Perez.
I think I started to sweat a little bit, like I was being interviewed when I saw your performance.
Good. Yeah, that's what we were definitely going for.
So what's a memorable moment for any of you, either on set or a favorite scene from the movie? Like, I know Nietzsche said, the ending came out exactly as he envisioned it, so maybe that's your favorite moment. But any of you, an anecdotal moment making the movie, any fun facts, or a favorite scene? Pete, go ahead, David.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite scenes that always comes back to me is the fact that, speaking on the VFX and some of the things, where when we were on set, this is where like we had to do a couple choices, like Anais was saying, that things move, things change, and on set there was supposed to be a light on her laptop throughout the entire scene, and it just turns off because we ran out of battery. But we had to finish, so it's like, let's screw it, let's continue shooting. And I had to digitally add a light onto it and to make it bright throughout, like, essentially the last part of the film. And it turned out great. Nobody has noticed yet until obviously just now.
I'm gonna go back and look now, but yeah. No, I didn't notice the first time.
But yeah, like those little details on VFX, on like things that you add. You might add something in the background, or you might add something digitally, and then things that people don't notice until you tell them, and they're like, oh, that made it even better. Or like, oh, I wouldn't notice otherwise. It looks so natural. So that was one of my favorite parts, being able to add just that little light, because we didn't have it on set.
Right. Well done. Others, memorable moments while shooting?
I think,
Oh, sorry.
oh, sorry. Oh, well,
Josh, you go next.
yeah, I had mentioned the torch scene. I know that filming it was like we filmed all the exteriors on the second day, and that was just at a mansion in Providence. So not a lot of the neighbors probably knew what was happening. So to see like a bunch of people with torches and pitchforks, and then to have a 71 Hemi Roadrunner outside, the main actor got in and then just screeched out. So yeah, you'd think it'd be like a big commotion, but like it was amazing. I think it was Rhode Island too, how cool they are with film. There's like just cops stopping and watching it with us and stuff. So that was sick. It was just a bunch of people who were very supportive, and no one cared what we were doing, which was wild. I thought for sure we'd get in trouble.
They usually do. I guess, yeah, it depends on certain locations. They either go along with it or not.
Yeah.
Other memorable moments, favorite moments? AJ, do you have a favorite scene in your movie?
I think one thing I love is the potato scene. Our lead character at one point turns into potato, and I was worried throughout the whole movie if that was actually going to play. And actually, it's the scene everybody talks about. Everybody loves it. It's like we worked so hard to make that potato right. So that's, again, David, stuff in post. So, yeah.
Right on. Others?
I was just remembering this part where my partner, the merman, has to it's like kind of a beautiful moment. You know, he comes out of the water and he just looks like a natural merman, like beautiful. And the light was like right in his eye, and then he had like suntan lotion, but he was kind of burning, and like he had the glitter, and then so he kept coming up and like blinking, and I'm like, okay, let's try it again, let's try it again. You know, if anyone's ever worked with our partner, you know, it's quite a challenge sometimes to just be like, okay, so you're a merman, so you like to swim. He's like, I know. So it was just like this funny moment of like where he was like, I'm trying, it's just the sun. I'm like, no, I know. So
So did collaborating on a movie make your relationship stronger, or
yeah,
did it
no,
jeopardize it?
we're cool. Yeah. No,
I've had screenwriter friends basically lose a laptop over the writing collaboration, if you will. Anybody else? PK, Nietzsche, funny moments, anecdotal moments?
Yeah, I agree with Nietzsche. The final scene where, you know, when they decide not to kill each other and the door just slowly closes on each other, and you're just seeing very, very overdrawn clips of them looking at each other. For me, that's the funniest thing. I don't know. That's exactly what I was picturing when we talked about it so many years ago in the restaurant. So I just love that.
There's one specifically where you're closing the door, and there's a moment where I don't know if you just lost this, like the rhythm and this like smoothness of closing it, that it kind of stopped. So it's like you wanted to take one last extra long look, and then it closed again. That was funny. And then also the pants that I brought didn't fit me. I don't know if you remember that, but I had to basically just pull them up as far as I could, just sit on the toilet. And
that works though. It worked that way.
Yeah, it worked perfectly, but I was like, wow, I need to definitely go running or something because the pants wouldn't fit. And I was like, well, all right, well, we're going to do what we have to because this is all I have.
So what's something you guys learned from making this short, either about yourself or about filmmaking? Did you learn anything? Or it's like, oh, yeah, I already know what I'm doing.
I think I learned in a comedy, it's really good, it's great to just talk to your actors for so much. I read a lot of pre-production of just talking about comedic sensibilities and what they found funny and how they worked. So when we got on set, it was just like clockwork. I would just give them like line-oramas or give them certain challenges, and they responded so well. It was like my favorite cast I've ever worked with.
How much rehearsal did you have?
It was not much as far as like the whole group. We had like one table read through, and then we rehearsed a lot on the day of, but it was all individual, me just kind of talking to them about the character or how they felt about Felix, the main character, and how they didn't like him. And yeah, it was pretty easy.
Nice. Nolan, what'd you learn?
One takeaway from this film specifically was I kind of tried a different thing with scheduling where I gave myself like up to 2 times the amount of time I really thought I actually needed for each shot. And we ended up really having a lot more time to try things and make sure we were doing it right, as well as the advantage of being able to even wrap early some days, which
So,
was
so when you were scheduled, you're saying when you scheduled, you actually like considered if it's going to take you an hour, this you gave yourself 2 hours.
exactly, yeah. So for each shot, we'd give ourselves about twice the amount of time that we probably reasonably needed, and it ended up really helping us stay ahead of schedule, give ourselves time for everything, and that's also good morale for like the cast and crew when you're not kind of falling behind on everything. Everybody's like, okay, we're making really great progress, and that ended up being a really helpful thing in the end.
Right. David, you learned to make sure to bring enough battery power for the devices on set.
Pretty much. Yeah, extra batteries, extra everything, extra goodies,
But
essentially.
as a DP, I mean, other than technical stuff, though, anything else you took away from this? I mean,
Uh, I did learn like just the communication that AJ had with different cast members. I was able to be there, essentially hearing what he was saying to the different actors on different things, and I was able to see his different points and different directions on screen. So like one of the things that I want to do is direct as well. So being with another director, being essentially his assistant every now and again, and hearing and learning from him, that was a good takeaway for me.
yeah. How much directors were you kind of communicating with your DPs, like an ace? How many, like, were you in constant communication with them?
Because we had a small crew, essentially it was just us two, my brother that I roped in to be my first AC essentially, and that was pretty much we had a PA and then another actor friend of ours who was acting as whatever we needed, and that was it. That was the entire crew.
Nice.
So we were able to work side by side very well. He would say what shot he wanted. I would get it, and I would be able to listen to his direction when he was talking to the actor. So that was a great collaboration, and to hear from what he was saying as well, like what he was telling the actors, and I would like, okay, I gotta remember that. I gotta remember that phrase so they won't feel bad. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But like little things like that, it was fun.
Yeah. AJ, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I really learned, there's so many millions of things you learn making a short film. It's like really hard to just like center it on just one thing. But just in a production standpoint, just having the two cameras, we shot with two cameras too.
Oh.
Having that on set was a lifesaver in
Yeah.
editing in every way. I mean, I would highly recommend you always, even if one shot usually ends up being a little bit compromised, but there's so many times I used that second camera when I was editing. It made the production move much smoother.
Was that your approach from the get-go, or you just consider it and then it affected your budget?
Well, thankfully, David had the equipment himself.
I see.
So, but yeah, it's something we kind of decided pretty much from the get-go after thinking about it more. But originally, I think we were just going to do one camera, but I think for this kind of shoot, it really helped having the double cameras.
It didn't complicate things for you, if you will? I mean, maybe you're experienced at it.
It complicated things, but actually, in my opinion, like actually made it run smoother because basically we doubled the shots with each shot. So,
yeah. And it saved you in the end in certain cases.
Yeah, certain like editing and things or something, because I do a lot of improvisation. So if somebody does something on this particular shot, we got it covered twice, so we can cut between those two things. You know?
Nice to have that. And Ace, did you were you in constant communication with your director of photography?
Yeah, I think for me it was important to have everyone understand the tone. Like for me, if I get the tone, if I know what the tone is, then when I'm on set, then I know what I'm trying to look for. And I think I met with the DP way before. We talked about colors. I'm all about mood boards. So I like had all the mood boards for him to look at, and a lot of references for movies and things that I wanted it to look like. So he kind of was amazing. Like he kind of just nailed it and got what I wanted. I think the thing that I learned is you got to have your crew, like, is everything. So you have to have people surrounding you that you like, that
Mhm.
you can talk to, that can, because things can be stressful. So
Yeah,
anyone that you can have around you that can like bring you down, help you solve problems. Like I had the makeup girl holding something, so like people just jumping in and helping. I think that is key when
yeah,
you're
for
filming.
sure. Couldn't agree more. You got to have a team, all for the same goal. It's like, you cast the actors, you almost got to cast the crew too, if you're lucky
Oh,
enough to pick who you can. Sometimes you're just
100%.
left with what's available. But so we only have time for one more. I got to get on to another Q&A. I'll go around the room. Nietzsche, last words. Anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you or want to say?
No, just thanks for the opportunity. It's happy to be on board and to share our film and see everyone else's. So it's going to be fun.
Right on. PK, last words. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, the thing that I learned from this project is, as filmmakers, we're in charge of bringing what if we to life, and this is a scenario where we could have just had this funny moment and never brought it to life, but you never know, like you could end up in a cool film festival if you just take some action on it. So like write down your ideas and then make them come alive.
Right on. David, anything you want to add?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for having us here and being able to chat about our different films and different experiences and what we like. So thank you very much for everything.
Yeah, I wish I had much more time, but that is what it is. Like I get another QA. Meredith, any last parting words?
Just thank you for having us. And yeah, it was cool to hear everyone's experience during the filmmaking process. And yeah, just it's fun to work with friends, and Meet Carly W was a great experience.
Right on. AJ? How about
Yeah,
you?
I love being here. Thank you for having us. It's been a great experience. I look forward to seeing you guys' films. I haven't seen them yet, but I really want to check them out. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to watch each other's films. Of course, support each other. Josh, you want to say any parting words or add anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank you and thank everybody. And I think it's just great that you guys have a home for comedy. It's kind of rare, so it's refreshing seeing it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
right on. Well, your films stood out, so it merited having a program. Nolan, any last famous words?
It was super cool hearing everybody share their wisdoms and talk about their films. I'm really thrilled to see them all now, and I appreciate you having us here.
And last but not least, Anais, right? Did I PK?
Yeah.
Okay, Anais, sorry. Last words.
No pressure. Jeez. No, I'm honored. I'm honored, and I'm so grateful to be amongst all you guys and to hear all your stories and to know that we're not alone. Keep making and keep creating, like to anybody else who's wanting to do it. It's possible.
Right on. Keep making movies.
Yes.
Well, congrats again, guys. Thanks for making your films. Congrats to completing your films, because I know that's a challenge in and of itself. And congrats on getting into our film festival. Future successes to all of you.
Thank you.
And thanks to our audiences for watching. Check out more indie films at sfindie.com and keep supporting indie films. All right. Thanks, everybody. Ciao.